Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Daily Fix. I am your usual host and presenter, Advocate Tudoyani. This morning I want to revisit the plight of Patricia MASHALE, the real mastermind, as she's known to most of her viewers and supporters. Patricia MASHALE is facing a lawsuit, like I indicated in the last video. And an interim court order has been issued against her by the Free State High Court, and she has to respond on or before the 23rd of October to those court papers. Among other things, she is ordered to retract some of the statements which are alleged to be defamatory of the applicant, one she. But I do not propose this morning to get into the merits of that matter. I'm in contact with her and will sort out the logistics going forward. My intention in this matter is not to get into the merits of that matter or even to speculate about the possible outcome. What I want to bring to your attention is the fact that Patricia MASHALE is not having, this is not the first lawsuit that she faces. Ever since she became a whistleblower, there's been concerted action to try and harass her in so many ways. Nobody's even speculating that this time around she's being harassed, but it all seems to follow a certain sort of pattern which has seen her, at the receiving end of those people who feel uncomfortable with her whistleblowing. My focus this morning is really on a past case that involved General Shadrach Sibiya in the same Free State High Court, wherein General Shadrach Sibiya was suing her for defamation also, allegedly for the statements which were defamatory of him. On the 8th of August, the Free State High Court found, as a matter of fact, that all the allegations that Patricia MASHALE had made against General Sibiya were in fact true and therefore not defamatory, because the first defense, or probably the strongest defense an accused person can have, or a respondent can have, or can resort to in the face of a defamation suit, is to indicate that, in fact, the allegations that I'm making cannot be defamatory of the applicant because they are true. Because that which is true cannot be defamatory because it is based on fact. So the truth cannot defame anyone. So going forward, we'll strategize with the real mastermind and see how we tackle this one. And I'll be with her all the way, like I promised in the last video. Now let us look briefly at that matter which was decided on the 8th of August 2025 by the Free State High Court, the General Shadrach Sibiya defamation case. In that case, General Shadrach Sibiya was alleging that Patricia MASHALE had made defamatory statements about him on social media regarding the Senzo Meyiwa investigation. Most damning of all allegations that were made there, and which the court found as a matter of fact that they were true and therefore not defamatory, was the fact that one of the first people to arrive, or rather, General Shadrach Sibiya was one of the first people to arrive on the scene of crime at the Khumalo House on the 26th of October 2014. And shortly thereafter, we are also informed that Warrant Officer Makubu arrived on the scene. You'll also note that General Shadrach Sibiya is senior to Warrant Officer Makubu. It was while they were at the scene at the Khumalo House on that day that Warrant Officer Makubu was then ordered by his senior, the General Shadrach Sibiya, to have the crime scene cleaned up. This came as a total surprise to Warrant Officer Makubu, because he was really surprised as to what sort of order this could be, that the crime scene be cleaned up, because this would have the impact of destroying all the evidence in and around the crime scene. It is now a matter of history that Warrant Officer Makubu refused to comply to carry out that instruction. He just simply disobeyed it. Upon his disobeying of the order, General Shadrach Sibiya then ordered him off the crime scene. In other words, he was literally, chased away from the crime scene, removed from the crime scene, and Warrant Officer Makubu then left the crime scene. So it was found, as a matter of fact, by the Free State High Court that General Sibiya had in fact tampered with the crime scene to the extent that he had it cleaned, because we know for a fact that people like Mapiri ended up cleaning that Senzo Meyiwa crime scene. So it was found, as a matter of fact, that those statements that the real mastermind, Patricia Morgan MASHALE, had made were not defamatory of General Shadrach Sibiya, because they were true. So these are matters of fact. So every time some powerful person takes a weaker person to court, doesn't necessarily mean that the allegations are going to hold water in court. Sometimes people, will sue for defamation simply because they are uncomfortable with, the disclosures being made about them, and not necessarily because those disclosures are false and therefore defamatory. It is usually because they are uncomfortable with those disclosures. So this is where we are now, and like I said, we'll take the matter forward with the real mastermind, because I am here and we are in contact now, and she knows that I'll stick to my guns. A promise I make, I always say to myself, is a promise I keep. So later on, we'll take up the same topic in a live chat that will go from, I think, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. this morning, and we'll see how far that will take us. So look forward at about 9 a.m. to having a live chat on the Daily Fix on this very same topic. Having said that, let me thank you for all the subscriptions I'm seeing and all the likes and shares that I'm seeing, and indeed all the support that you are rendering to the Daily Fix. Until 9 a.m. on the live chat on the Daily Fix. See you then. Bye-bye.